When the rains fail and the sun scorches the garden for weeks, most soil dries, cracks and loses its life. Many gardeners turn to constant watering, chemical additives or expensive irrigation systems, but decades ago, before plastic hoses and synthetic fertilizers, there was a simple method farmers used to shield their crops from withering heat. They didn't rely on fancy tools or constant watering. Instead, they leaned on a mulch trick so effective that it outsmarted drought and kept roots alive when everything else seemed to fail. And what's remarkable is that this old method still works today, often better than modern solutions. The key lies not in what was spread over the soil, but in how it was layered, arranged, and left to decompose. And if you've ever wondered how to turn poor, dry beds into living ground that resists drought, this method is one of the best-kept secrets you can bring back into your garden. Today, when most gardeners hear the word mulch, they think of wood chips, shredded bark, or maybe straw scattered loosely across the soil. While those materials work, they only scratch the surface of what mulch can truly do. The old method was more than a covering. It was a layered system designed to mimic the forest floor, where leaves, sticks and organic debris don't just sit on top, but settle in layers that hold water, feed microbes, and build structure from the ground up. Farmers during hard drought years would gather every bit of organic matter they could find, grasses, leaves, weeds, straw, even kitchen scraps, and lay them down in alternating layers. The first layer would be coarse material, like corn stalks or branches, creating tiny air pockets that slowed evaporation and allowed moisture to seep deep rather than run off. Above that went softer layers like grass clippings or leaf litter, which held onto water like a sponge. Over time, these layers broke down, fusing into a dark, rich layer of humus that not only kept crops alive during drought, but actually built stronger soil for future seasons. Now, why does this method outsmart drought, you might wonder? Well, the brilliance of this mulch system is that it solves several drought problems all at once. Think about it. Bare soil under the summer sun can lose nearly all of its surface moisture in just a single afternoon. Water applied at the surface often evaporates before the roots can even drink it in. But you see, a layered mulch acts as a shield. It keeps the soil surface cool, preventing evaporation. It also slows down heavy rains, allowing them to soak in rather than just washing away. And perhaps most clever of all, it stores water within the mulch itself, like a reservoir that slowly seeps moisture into the root zone over days, not just minutes. Even more important, really, is what happens underground. As the layers decompose, they release carbon compounds that feed soil microbes. These microbes, in turn, build aggregates, tiny soil structures that act like little sponges, holding both water and nutrients right where roots need them. Over time, the soil beneath the mulch becomes looser, darker, and richer in humus, transforming hard, cracked ground into something alive and resilient. In simple terms, while modern methods focus on quick fixes, this old mulch method builds a living soil that defends itself against drought. Now let's talk about materials that work best. One of the real strengths of this method is its flexibility. Farmers of the past used whatever they had on hand, and gardeners today can do just the same. Coarse materials like sticks, corn stalks or sunflower stems create airflow at the bottom of the mulch. Then softer layers such as grass clippings, fallen leaves, shredded weeds or straw go above and help hold in the moisture. And don't forget, kitchen scraps, especially vegetable peels or coffee grounds, can be tucked in to provide an extra boost of nitrogen that speeds up decomposition. The key is balance. Too much coarse material and the mulch won't hold enough water. Too much fine material and it will mat down, blocking airflow. The most effective mulch is one that mixes textures, creating both sponge-like layers and airy layers. Over time, the result is not a loose pile, but a mat of partially decomposed organic matter that clings to the soil like a living skin. How to build the drought-proof mulch bed? Well, the process starts with preparing the soil. If the ground is extremely dry, give it one deep watering first to recharge it. Then lay down a base of coarse material to keep the mulch lifted above the soil surface. Add a layer of softer organic matter about 2 to 3 inches thick, then repeat the process. Each time you add a layer, lightly moisten it so decomposition begins quickly. Aim for at least 6 to 8 inches of total mulch depth, which is enough to hold moisture but not so heavy that it suffocates the soil. Over the weeks that follow, the mulch will settle. The bottom layers will begin to break down first, feeding earthworms and microbes, while the top layer continues to shield the soil from sun and wind. Unlike thin coverings of wood chips that simply block weeds, this layered mulch becomes part of the soil itself. By the time the season is over, what once looked like a pile of scraps turns into a thick, dark, spongy soil amendment ready to feed your next crop. Gardeners who revive this old mulch technique often notice the difference within a single season. Crops that once wilted in the afternoon sun stay upright and green. Watering frequency drops dramatically, sometimes by half. Soil that was once powder dry begins to smell earthy and rich. And perhaps most telling of all, earthworms return in abundance, tunneling through the softened soil and leaving behind their castings, nature's most potent fertilizer. Over multiple seasons, this method can transform even the hardest clay or sandy soil into something fertile and resilient. Because the mulch keeps the ground covered year-round, it also suppresses weeds and prevents erosion, meaning less work for the gardener in the long run. In short, it is not only a drought solution, but a soil revival strategy with lasting benefits. In a time when droughts are becoming more common and water is increasingly precious, relying on heavy irrigation alone is not sustainable. The beauty of this old mulch method is that it doesn't just solve today's problem of dryness. It sets the stage for healthier, more self-sufficient soil that can carry your garden through future challenges. And while commercial products promise quick fixes, none can match the resilience that comes from mimicking nature's own system of layering organic matter. This is not a method of the past, it's a method that belongs in every garden today. Whether you grow vegetables in raised beds, tend fruit trees, or simply want your soil to stay alive and fertile, the layered mulch system is one of the most powerful tools you can use. If your soil has ever baked, cracked, or failed under the summer sun, this old mulch trick might be the answer you've been looking for. It's simple, affordable, and proven to work, outsmarting drought, reviving tired ground, and building the kind of soil that can sustain life year after year. Try it in your own beds this season and watch the difference it makes. And if you found this guide valuable, make sure to subscribe to Hydro Haven and share this with fellow gardeners who are searching for soil solutions that truly work. Together we can keep these timeless practices alive and thriving in every garden.